Down, down, down the road, down the witch's road. Hello and welcome to my spoiler review of the last 4 episodes of Agatha All Along. This is going to be spoiler territory and it's going to be great. If you have not watched the show, please do so. Come back, watch my first video about the first 5 episodes, then watch this video and discuss in the comments below. If you have watched it, please be sure to mark your comments as spoiler territory just for a little bit longer because the show just recently completed. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of freebase this a little bit. I usually go off the cuff because I don't take notes, and I'm not taking notes for this. So it's gonna be a little bit rambly, but I feel it's gonna be fun and we should enjoy this journey together. Episode 6. In this episode, we discover that Teen is actually William Kaplan, and he was a resident of Westview and was celebrating his bar mitzvah, and there he encounters Lilia, and she reads his palm and discovers that his life is broken in two and places the sigil on him. She was the one to put the sigil on Teen. So during the collapse of Wanda's spell, everybody had to flee the bar mitzvah, and during the chaos of it all, William and his family got into a car accident and William died. But it turns out that one of Wanda's twins, Billy Maximoff, jumped into his body and brought him new life. So he has no memory of his previous life. He's got these newfound powers, and it's all so confusing for him. And the big reveal at the end of the last episode was just the beginning of what is going to become of Billy Maximoff. And he's still deciding on whether he's going to be William Kaplan or Billy Maximoff. He's not sure. It remains to be seen. But this episode dives into the origin of the character known as Wiccan. And he is not called Wiccan at all during this series, which is a shame. I kind of thought that it would be great if they threw that in, but I'll get to that in a later episode. The goal of Billy is to find his twin brother Tommy, and that is what he wants to use the witch's sword for. And it's up to him and pretty much Agatha to finish the road. He expelled Agatha into the mud, as well as Jen and Lilia, and only Agatha has emerged thus far, so it's just the two of them. And Agatha knows that teen is Billy Maximoff. She used to be their babysitter. Come on now. Great touch. Great touch. Episode 7. The next trial begins, and for the moment, it happens just to be Agatha and Billy. And Agatha is garbed up as the Wicked Witch of the West, and Billy is assigned Maleficent and is glorious. I just never thought that they would go that far with it. I just didn't, but it was magnificent and it was fantastic. So it's a trial by tarot, and both Agatha and Billy try to figure out the trial by the tarot cards displayed on a round table and several hanging swords from the ceiling that seem to drop every time you get something wrong. And they're realizing that their efforts are futile. And it isn't until Jen and Lilia show up that the purpose is for Lilia to do the tarot reading. Now, Lilia has been going through a lot of time lapses and going back to her past, going back to the future, and she realizes that death is coming for her. And death happens to be Rio. Oh my goodness. Now, death has a major impact. Well, I wouldn't say major impact. A considerable impact on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. She has connections to Thanos. And she's death. That's just who she is. The fact that she happens to be a green witch is interesting, and the fact that she has passed with Agatha is interesting. So, eventually it boils down to that Lilia knows what she needs to do in order to defeat the trial, and she has the others run off. She shuts herself off and finishes the trial, which causes the room to turn upside down as the Salem 7 are descending upon her, and they're all impaled on the swords, and so is Lilia. And what remarkable acting by Patti LuPone. No surprise. But tremendous acting. It was gut-wrenching. It honestly was. Episode 8. Rio is after Billy, and because he encountered a second body, it's difficult for her to collect him as a member of the dead, and she confronts Agatha about that, and Agatha says, if you let me get to the end of the road, I'll give you Billy. if you let me survive. And that's what the agreement is. On the Witch's Road, they come full circle. They're at the beginning. They find their shoes. And they think that it's a hoax. There isn't much to gather aside the fact that they have to go through this whole process again. But it turns out that once Billy puts on his shoes, they're transported into Agatha's basement, which has a series of grow lights, and slowly they shut off. And Jen is there, and she finds out that Agatha is the one that bound her from not being able to use her powers. So she ripped out a locket of Agatha's hair, wrapped it around her wrists, and basically did a chant saying that you can no longer hold me. And once she got her power back, she vanished. And she got what she wanted out of the Witch's Road, and therefore she was safe. Then it came up to Billy, and Billy wants to find Tommy, and it was up to him and Agatha to unlock his powers even further and find a dead soul to put Tommy into. A dead body to put Tommy into. And Billy found it. And did such. And then disappeared. So Agatha was left with the ability to finish the trial. In the course of her interchange with Billy, the floor cracked open and revealed some earth. And Agatha had a seed from a dandelion in her locket that she has always kept close to her. And she placed that into the ground after putting one of her own tears onto it. And it grew, and it flourished. And the lights go dim. She's transported back to her own yard, where Rio is waiting for her. And since she didn't deliver Billy, Rio was coming for her. And an all-out battle ensues. Billy shows up in full Wiccan garb. Once again, he's not called Wiccan. And I just really wish that he was. But, excuse me. He gives a lot of his power to Agatha so that she can battle against Rio. And it seemed that Agatha was going to save Billy by sacrificing herself to Rio. And then at the last minute changed her mind. And all of a sudden, it was just like, what? What the fuck? Honestly. But then Agatha kisses Rio / death. And her power is siphoned. She's dead. She collapses to the ground. Gets absorbed into the earth. And a bunch of purple flowers grow up from the ground where she laid. Billy is free. He's free to find Tommy. Rio has what she wants. And we go from there. Which happens to be Billy returning to William Kaplan's home and his bedroom, which is adorned with several artifacts of witchcraft. Of items that are similar to the trials on the Witch's Road. And also, there's a Trans Lives Matter flag that is hanging in his room. I appreciate that so much. And as he's realizing that each of the trials have something poignant to something in his room, he knows what has happened. And then he hears a cackling that sounds a lot like Agatha. Episode 9. This episode is so very poignant, and it starts out by going back to Agatha's past and her pregnancy with Nicholas, aka Nikki. And during the delivery process, Rio/Death comes for Nicholas, and Agatha begs her to give them time. To just give them time. And Death tells her that it will be limited. So in raising the young Nikki, Agatha siphons off the powers of various witches throughout the years. This is going back to 1790, I think somewhere around there, but I could be mistaken. But a long, long, long time ago. And eventually, Nikki gets sick of being the pawn in order to lure people into his mother's trap. And they create a song. And that becomes a performance piece for money, for power, but it can't save Nikki's life. Eventually, Rio/Death comes for Nikki. It's his time. And Agatha is devastated. So she goes through time after time after time, using the song to lure other witches into the idea that they could find the thing they want most of all at the end of the Witch's Road. And it's a lie. It's an absolute fucking lie. And she drains their powers each and every time. Like, she calls them into a circle and they sing the song and no door appears. And Agatha goes, well, you're all just lame and awful, so therefore you must die. And they cast their powers onto her to try to kill her instead, and instead that empowers her to last how many more years it takes her to regenerate. And she's been doing that for centuries. And that's what she was doing at the beginning of this show. She knew the Witch's Road did not exist. She was trying to create a coven to steal their powers to live longer. But then the Witch's Road revealed itself. All thanks to Billy Maximoff. Agatha returns as a ghost. A horrible-looking ghost. Just to be honest, I love the gray hair because that is significant to the actual character of Agatha Harkness. But it just looked ridiculous. And I guess in a ghost form or whatnot, Agatha is that in the Marvel comics. She and Billy go through a tete-a-tete, and Jen is still alive. Billy is feeling guilt over creating the Witch's Road himself because it doesn't exist, and therefore causing the death of Sharon, of Alice, of Lilia, and Agatha tells him that it necessarily wasn't his fault, and that Jen is still alive. So they go through this sort of process of grieving, of healing, of finding their own way past their own pain. Agatha is able to get her necklace back. Billy knows that he needs to find his brother Tommy. And they're gonna set off on a new journey. A witch and a ghost. How is that gonna play? Whew. That has been a long road. Down, down, down the road, down the witch's road. Oh, I can't get that song out of my head. I've added it to one of my Spotify playlists. I love it. I think the harmonies are beautiful. It's a great song. And yeah. Thank you all for watching. I certainly appreciate it. Feel free to sound off in the comments below. Let me know what you think. If you have spoilers, please mark it spoiler territory. Because I want people to watch the show and be surprised and be elated as to some of the things that happen and be surprised by some of the things that happen. You just never know, and I don't want that spoiled. So just please be careful when posting spoilers. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Feel free to hit the notification bell if you want to be notified whenever Renson Productions uploads a video. Also, if you're inclined to help the channel grow, you can do so by following the links in the description. Once again, this is Constance Miller, and I send love and light to you all.